Skater XL from Easy Day Studios has seen its release on consoles and the 1.0 release on PC. Touted as a skateboarding simulator and not a traditional video game, this is a difficult one for me to give a real recommendation for, because for some it's going to be what they've been looking for, and for many others it will seem far too bare boned to give a try. Fans of skateboarding games have been left wanting in recent years. The last Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, was a huge disappointment on almost every level, though the upcoming Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster does look promising. It's been a decade since EA's Skate franchise has seen the light of day, unless you count backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. But in the past few years, two studios have been making skateboarding simulators: Easy Day Studios with Skater XL and Creature Studios with Session. I'm sure people will want to know which of these two is the better game. However, I'm going to forego making that sort of judgment because Session is still in very early access compared to Skater XL's full 1.0 release. I will, however, make a couple of comparisons between the games, and each is where I feel one or the other does things better, as of right now. Getting the technical parts out of the way, the graphics in Skater XL are fine for the most part. There are some really muddy textures here and there, like manhole covers on the streets, but overall the game looks decent enough. The sound is also perfectly adequate for your skateboard moving on different surfaces and when grinding on objects, though it should be noted that these are pretty much the only sounds you'll hear in the game. The character doesn't make any sounds, and the levels are empty and lifeless. The soundtrack is okay, if not forgettable. Don't expect anything as close to memorable as the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtracks from the first few games in that series. Moving on to where the meat of Skater XL is, the gameplay and controls. Fans of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games will remember that that series used one button for grabs, another for grinds, and another for flip tricks, with variations based on what direction the D-pad was pressed. Fans of the Skate series will remember the flick-it controls, where the right analog stick did all the tricks based on how the right stick was moved. Skater XL takes the flick-it controls and moves it forward, as does Session. In both of these games, each stick controls a foot on the skater. The left stick controls the left foot and the right stick controls the right foot. As a result, tricks are done with stick combinations, with one foot doing the ollies and scoops of the board, and the other controlling how the board is flipped. While this can take some getting used to, once the player has gotten the basics down, it feels like second nature. Turning is also done with the triggers, which does take a lot of getting used to. However, when the board is on the ground, players can still turn with either the left or right analog stick. I'm not sure why this is. Easy Day Studios should have just gone all in with how the turning is done and not this mixed setup, as people might get used to turning with the sticks on the ground, but then wonder why they can't rotate in the air with the sticks. Just as some easy examples, holding down the right stick while skating in regular stance, then letting go and flicking the left stick to the left will perform a kick flip, or flicking the left stick to the right will perform a heel flip. Adding in scoops on the right stick is how players will perform tricks like varials, shove-its, hard flips, and tray flips. Conversely, pushing up on the left stick will do nollies, and the right stick will do the flips. Doing rotations are done with the triggers. Skater XL uses a physics-based trick system, so while the game can show you what trick you did based on your stick's movements, they aren't pre-programmed animations. The board moves based on how fast you flick the stick and how long you hold the direction. As a result, no two tricks ever look completely the same. For goofy skaters, just switch the sticks and directions. For longer flips, like double or triple flips, you also have to catch your board and land without bailing. This is done by clicking in either stick to catch with your front or back foot. Session has a similar mechanic, but instead of clicking the sticks, you just pull down on the stick you want to catch with. Both work fine though. There is also a high pop mechanic, where pushing both sticks up or pulling both down will pop the board higher. Given the claim of a simulation though, the high pop is a bit outrageous. Also, landing from any height doesn't cause a bail. However, one major issue that Skater XL has is in its switch stance and fakie tricks. When in switch, pushing the left stick up is how you do a switch ollie, and pulling the right stick down performs a fakie ollie. This doesn't make real life sense, as in real life, in switch, you put your left foot to the back of the board to do a switch ollie, and your right foot to the front of the board to do a fakie ollie. Also, the controls for kick flips and heel flips don't change direction. In this regard, I feel Session feels much better. Even though Session still has its own issues to deal with when working in switch or fakie, At least it feels right to put your feet in the correct positions and flick the board to the correct side for switch and fakie tricks. Skater XL is also missing late tricks. Late tricks are a thing, and it would be nice if they were in the game. Skateboarding games have had late tricks since at least the original THPS, and so a lack of them in Skater XL is a definite issue. Like with flip tricks, grinds are done with the sticks being pushed in certain directions when you are about to hit a rail or other grindable surface. Pushing up on the left stick puts a player in a nose grind. Pulling back on the right stick is a 5-0, and pushing up on left and down on the right is a 50-50, as examples. Experimenting with the directions can get you into feeble, Smith, and Willie grinds. The hard part, like in real life, is actually lining up the grind and locking it in. I do feel, though, that Skater XL is a lot more forgiving about lining up grinds than Session is. Skater XL also has transition skating and grab tricks, though the latter is still not the best. Using the bumpers on the Xbox or L1 and R1 on the PlayStation controllers, players can grab their boards while in the air and use the sticks to tweak the grabs. Unfortunately, the grabs are very limited right now, only consisting of front side, back side, and nose or tail grabs, with only slight tweaks available, like melon or indie grabs when tweaking the legs of the skater. There is also no ability to do flip to grabs, like a kick flip to indie or finger flips. The transition skating is much more fleshed out, allowing for grinds and stalls of various types on the edges of quarter pipes and other transition objects. Skater XL is much more fully featured than Session for transition and grabs, as both are still in very early development in Session. Neither game really has vert skating implemented very well, though. There is a replay editor in Skater XL, but it is very basic. While players can move the camera, set keyframes, adjust the field of view, and tilt the camera, that's really about all they can do. There is no option for a fisheye lens, forcing players to fiddle with the depth of field to simulate the effect. Nor is there any ability to slow down areas of the clips to make for slow motion in some of them. While Session's replay editor is buggy and can crash the game, it does offer these extra features. Clips can be saved, though, and re-edited later, if one wants, which is a nice touch. Skater XL comes with 8 maps, 5 official maps, and 3 maps made by modders on the PC that they bought or licensed to have in the game. Easy Day High School is a typical California high school campus with some famous skate spots put in there, like Wallingberg, the big kinked and curved rail that Nigel Houston tricked on in a video, and some others. Downtown Los Angeles is just what it sounds like, with a few famous spots in there, including a rail that Yuto Hirogomi 5-0'd for a Barracks video a few years back. The big ramp is a huge mega ramp with some transition quarter pipes, a half pipe, and a massive rainbow rail. California Skate Park is just a small skate park like one would find in California. And the West LA Courthouse is another famous LA spot featured in many skate videos over the years. The community maps are Hudland, which is an indoor skate park, Streets, which appears to try and replicate some San Francisco-styled streets, and finally Grant Park, Chicago, based off the Real Word Skate Park in Chicago. While the levels all have enough places to skate, they are all lifeless and barren. There are no NPCs, no moving vehicles on levels that could have them, really no ambient sounds, nothing. While it obviously isn't necessary to have NPCs and such, at least having various sounds that make the levels feel a bit more alive would be a huge boon to the game. Hopefully Easy Day Studios will be adding more maps as time goes on, with the majority of them preferably being free, because of how anemic the current map list feels. I'm also hopeful they'll license more of the community-made maps that are currently in the PC version. There's an amazing-looking pre-renovation Love Park map made by a community member that would be great to have, especially since the city of Philadelphia decided in 2016 to make Love Park a flat sidewalk that inspires no one and doesn't have anything that is able to be skated. Is it obvious I'm bitter? But the mod scene has definitely helped keep the game popular on the PC side, which is something the console versions obviously lacked. There is a character creation tool, but it is the most basic and bare-bone tool imaginable. Players can customize 4 skin tones, the hair and clothes and board, from a limited list of presets. That's it. No body type, no different faces, and if players decide to wear hats, whatever hairstyle chosen will disappear. There is a decent amount of licensed skate gear, but even so, the Create a Skater tool just isn't that great. Skater XL is also still buggy at times. There are times the skater will ollie without the sticks being pushed. Watching the board land primo and still roll with the character's legs bent in unrealistic ways can be funny, but it should also be rarer than it is. Clipping into buildings and objects is also common. And as a simulation game, Skater XL lacks any sort of motivation to keep playing it, depending on what players are looking for. While each map has some challenges, they're not organic to the levels, nor do they offer any rewards. There is no scoring system, no online mode, and the full set of achievements, minus the bugged around the world achievement and the final get all other achievements achievement, can be completed in just a few hours of gameplay. The bugged achievement is to travel 40.075 kilometers, but they actually made it 40,075 kilometers. So the real question is this: is Skater XL worth the $40 asking price? That's going to depend on what players are looking for. Skaters and people who just like to do lines and record them in skateboarding games can find a lot of enjoyment in Skater XL, especially on the PC version with its multitude of mods and community maps available. But players looking for a more game aspect and less create your own fun will quickly grow bored. This isn't a game I can recommend to everyone, or even a majority of players out there. It's fun for people like me who have put in a combined thousands of hours in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and skate games, just skating around and doing our own things. But I think the majority of players out there would feel the price is too high for what's available at launch. For the majority of players out there, they may feel that Skater XL is still in a beta phase, as with what it is missing, it does feel incomplete.
Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Either way, I'm good. Also, if you enjoyed the video and wish to help support in making more, consider visiting my Patreon page located in the description below. And again, thank you very much.